Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
You all want to hear something cool?
What's that?
I'm getting interviewed. I'm getting an interview from Yale.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. Diana, that's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you going to fly out to New Haven?
No, it's a virtual interview, thank God.
Oh. You would go out there and it's winter. There's probably feet of snow.
Gosh, yeah, I would die of frostbite and hypothermia. Then you'd have to get a new youth rep.
Oh, well, you know, youth only lasts so long. Like
True.
hour. Okay.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
All right. So, Vince, are you here? Or for who? Fernanda, are you running the meeting?
Vince isn't here yet.
Oh, that's strange. I hope he feels okay. Okay, let's see. Should I call Vince?
Looks like we have about 12.
Okay. Is Benny here?
Right now we're at 13.
Okay. Ooh. Benny's not here.
I see Jimmy Gomez listed
Oh,
as
okay.
attendee.
Oh, cool. Hi, Jimmy. 1 second. Benny.
We've got an LAPD traffic officer.
Okay. Just wait for Vince here for 1 minute. 1 second. Okay. Okay, Vince is on. Do you see him? He was having trouble with the internet. Do you see him on the attendee side?
He's here with him.
Yay.
He's under Fernanda Sanchez.
Oh, duh, I'm not good at looking at these names here.
Okay.
Oh, here he comes. Ah!
I am.
All right.
Sorry, everyone. Just a little bit of the internet.
All
And
right.
surviving and still surviving COVID.
Bravo. All right, so we have 15 members here, so we have quorum. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This meeting is called to order. I'm Sarah Clendenning, president of Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. Roll call, please, Fernanda.
Sarah Clendenning.
Present.
Ben Wadsworth.
Present.
Vincent Montalvo.
Present.
Fernanda Sanchez present. Nancy Soto.
Present.
Benny Madera. Didier Delizer.
Present.
Joanna Iraeta. Diana Tran.
Present.
Annalie Har.
Present.
Melanie Belomo Shiflet.
Here.
Victor Asanedo.
Present.
Diego Zapata.
Yeah.
Gil Arevalo.
Here.
Richard Ortiz. Steve Lucero.
Here.
Selena Ortega.
Present.
We have 14. We have quorum.
Excellent. All right, so I forgot to add, okay, this meeting is called to order. It is 6:06 p.m. This is a meeting of the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. This is a general board meeting, general board and stakeholder meeting. All right, so with that, well, I guess I could announce the EVG protocols. I'm the host. Fernanda or Vince is the moderator and the Zoom technician. So those are the people that you're going to be hearing a little more from, Vince and Fernanda and me. Okay, so now we're going to open it up to non-agenda public comment. If there's anybody from the public who would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please press *9 or raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Right?
Okay, we got Kenneth Mejia.
Hey, Kenneth. Oh, one more thing, if all board members could be on video, please, out of courtesy for our guests.
Kenneth?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Tell me when I could start and then I'll go.
Oh, go for it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kenneth Mejia, he, him, and thank you for having me here. I'm here to let you all know that I'm running for LA City Controller. I see a lot of familiar faces here, even Congressman Jimmy Gomez. I'm running for LA City Controller, the city's accountant and auditor. I'm a certified public accountant's license. It's in an active status. And essentially, I have 11 years of accounting and auditing experience. The city controller is exactly that. I think I'm the only candidate that has that experience. And I think this city needs to have an independent watchdog. And we really pride ourselves in that fact. Just being an outsider, we've been contacted by the news, by KCAL9, by LA Times, by The Guardian to provide financial data on the city of LA. And we're not even the controller. We've provided a lot of resources for people too, such as our maps on where affordable housing is located throughout the city of LA, where you're most likely to get a parking ticket. And we're actually making our latest resource that will show where you're most likely to get pulled over or stopped by the LAPD. That's going to be a great resource for people to use too. So we're not waiting to do the job of the city controller. We're already doing it. One thing as well is that we also provide education. We show people the city's finances, but we also educate them on where to find that information and how to read it. We've also taught over 500 individuals on how to help their unhoused neighbors file their tax returns so that they can get their missed stimulus checks. Our campaign has raised the most money in small dollar donations, and we're really proud about that as well. Today, we canvassed on Lincoln Park Ave between Mission and Broadway. We got some yard signs up, so if you all drive around Lincoln Park, you'll see some of our yard signs. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, and we're here to hold people accountable, to provide education, and to be the independent watch. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth. Excellent. Do we have any other public comments? Vince? Fernanda?
We have,
Hello. Is it me? Yeah.
yeah, Ruben Oils.
Yes. I'm Ruben Hoyos. I'm with Southwest Voter Registration Education Project. So as you well know, Southwest Voter, we are one of the oldest voting rights organizations here in the United States. Our offices are located in Lincoln Heights, and right now what we are doing is we are looking for members who are involved in the community in the Northeast region of Los Angeles, who might be interested in joining our steering committee. Our goal is to basically register a lot of voters. We are nonpartisan, and so anyone who might be interested and to find more about us can send me an email, or they can send me also a text message as well. Again, Southwest Voter, what we've been doing so far to register voters, we've been going to high schools to outreach, and also we want to reach out and develop leaders. That's basically our main purpose, is to serve underserved communities in the area. So if anyone have any questions, they can reach out to me by email or by phone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben.
Our next speaker is David Kim.
David Kim, hello.
Hi, yes.
Hi.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is David Kim, and I'm running for Congress here in CA 34. For those who don't know, I ran last cycle, and I ran as the corporate-free progressive candidate, the only candidate not to take any corporate PAC or special interest money in the general election, despite being outraised 10-1 by the unlimited corporate PAC and special interest money of our incumbent. We did really well and almost won. We won 47% of the total vote, winning 96,554 votes and just losing by a couple percentage points. And I honestly was not going to run again. But times have gotten tough. It hasn't gotten any better. During my experience as a juvenile dependency attorney last year, a lot of my parents in children's court were there being punished for not having housing, healthcare, money, resources. And yet we have politicians in Congress saying that they're co-sponsoring Medicare, but taking money from big pharmaceutical companies and healthcare companies that prevent imports of more effective drugs. We have politicians that are in there taking money from banks, from defense contractors. And the reason why America continues in these endless wars is because financial stake is at hand. The reason why people continue to suffer, and this district is one of the poorest congressional districts in the entire country, is because we have an oligarchy where the corporate rich and the few are controlling everything and the people's voices are not being heard. So we need more big radical change and not little fixes here and there, and not performative politics or speaking points or pictures with the squad. We actually need leadership that goes more. In a district that's been historically redlined for years, just doing this here and there is not enough. And so would love to get your support.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker is Michael Hayden.
But Benny is there in the audience.
Okay, I'll bring Benny over.
Okay.
Hi.
Michael, whenever you're ready.
Hi, Michael. Oops, sorry. Hi, Michael.
Hi, this is Michael Hayden. I have a quick update on Avenue 34 and the toxic dumping we recently learned about at the site. At the last council meeting, DTSC's spokesperson said that they believed the dumping happened on other properties. That prompted us to go back and look closely at the news articles from the time. And it's clear that the 254 barrels of toxic waste were buried in multiple cavernous holes, both on the property and just outside the property. One article describes how the first barrels were discovered by a city street worker at the intersection of Pasadena Avenue and West Avenue 34 underneath the road. And that puts the contamination even closer to Hillside Elementary and to our homes, and absolutely elevates the need for DTSC to conduct offsite testing to find out what risks this dumping has created for neighbors and to the school, and they'll absolutely need to create a new site characterization and cleanup plan. They haven't indicated what they're going to do yet, but of course, based on the comments we heard from last week or the last meeting, it sounds like they're going to try to push this through. But I just wanted to update everybody that that's where we stand. And Representative Gomez, I just wanted to thank you so much for coming to our neighborhood council meeting, and thank you for the support your office has given our community in this effort.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Michael.
We have no more public comment.
Okay, we have no more public comment. Next, we'll move on to item number 4, community and board announcements. So if there are any community members that have community announcements, please press *9 or raise your hand, and you have 2 minutes to speak.
Not seeing any.
Okay, so any board member announcements? Board members?
I'm not seeing any board member now. Oh, we got one. Mel.
Mel?
Hi everyone. Nancy, you probably know about this. So I'm sorry if this is like not news, but they were digging some test pit holes in the By Right parking lot. So not today. Sorry, a couple weeks ago. I apologize. So I didn't know if anyone knew anything about that. I know that there's the Chick-fil-A situation going on, but yeah, digging some holes in the By Right parking lot. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mel. I'd like to make an announcement. So like I talked about at the last meeting, on New Year's Eve, I was walking down Broadway and I counted 9 street lights out just between Bank of America and LeBlanc's. So just a couple blocks. And then, so I took another walk, or I was more in tune with the lights. And then I actually counted 17 lights out between Jack in the Box and LeBlanc's. So basically like probably a quarter of the businesses have no light. So I've reported that to the Bureau of Street Lighting. So hopefully that will get fixed and we will have less less people smashing windows of storefronts and less car accidents. All right. Any other board member announcements?
I don't see any.
Okay, so next we'll move on to item number 6, item number 5, government reports. So if there's anybody, any city official or government official who would like to speak, please press *9 or raise your hand.
Okay, we have Wendy.
Wendy.
Hi, everybody. This is Wendy Castro. I am the representative. Sorry about that. It like changed on my end and I was like, wait, what's happening? I lost y'all. Wendy Castro, with the mayor's office, the East Side representative. Thank you for having me here again. I just had a couple of updates from our end, from the city that I wanted to share and make sure that everybody was aware of. I also follow up with an email with links to all of this information so that y'all can share it on your social media pages and just with the community. So the first one is that the rent relief is still available and open for applicants that are experiencing financial insecurity due to COVID-19. You can still apply at housingiskey.org. Please let me know if anybody has any questions. I'm working with the different council districts right now, as well as different assembly members in representing the East Side to have some housing clinics that'll also include testing and, just a bunch of other resources that'll be available to the community. And I hope to have one either in Lincoln Heights or Highland Park. So I'll keep y'all updated so that y'all can have a table and just come out and, greet the community and share information with them as well about the neighborhood council. The next update is Metro Life program. So as we all know, on January 10th, the Metro system started charging again. There are some Life program, which is low income fare program that is available right now to individuals who qualify. They're offering a free 90-day pass and fare discounts that are available through Metro. Along with this housing informational that I want to provide, I'll also be inviting Metro out, so they will be on site and be able to sign up folks for the Life program. So that's, again, something that community members don't have to go on and look for. We're trying to provide here in the community for them. Discounted rates are included for students, seniors, and folks who are not completely able-bodied. And then the next update is opportunities from the state of California to help businesses. So this is only open. It's not currently open to the public, but it is open to all NC board members, and I encourage you all to be able to attend if you can. It'll happen on January 25th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and it's going to be sharing information about state funding for recovery and success in the future, how to meet upcoming grant deadlines, and then they're also going to be offering free consultations to small businesses. So this is open to either bids or NC board members or Chamber of Commerce. So I'll send y'all that information to the listserv so that y'all can share with any other Chamber of Commerce or NC board members that would like to attend. 2 more updates. So the next one is that you can get your free COVID test mailed to you, to your house. This is through the federal government, and you can go to www.covidtest.gov. Every home in the US is eligible to order up to free rapid at-home COVID-19 test. The tests are completely free, and orders usually ship out between 7 to 12 days. So you can go online and find that information. And then the last update is that the County of Los Angeles has continued to have their pickup testing kit program, allowing residents to pick up PCR test kits to then perform at home or in their car and then return it back to the site and then have it be mailed out. Residents are going to be notified ideally with 24 to 48 hours, but because of the surge right now, it is taking a little bit longer to notify residents of their results. The nearest pickup that I was able to find, there are 12 locations currently throughout the city of Los Angeles. The nearest pickup to Lincoln Heights is going to be Obregon Park, which is in East LA on 1st Street. And usually rep centers can apply with the county, talking to their assembly member to be able to have a pickup site located at their rep center in their community, if that's something that y'all are interested in. Facilitating on this side, other than the huge Lincoln Heights Park one that's already there, but they're not offering pickup test kits there. That's something that I can definitely connect y'all with to the assembly member and just make sure that we provide all of the resources we can to our community. So that's it on my end. Thank you for having me. Are there any questions?
No, but I think you can give out your email just so people have any they can email.
Absolutely. You can email me at wendy.castro, CASTRO, at lacity.org. Wendy.castro at lacity.org.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you so much. And I'll follow up sending an email to the whole board with all of the links of the stuff that I just shared right now.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks.
Our next speaker is Cynthia Cruz.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Cynthia Cruz. I'm representing Councilmember Kevin De Leon's office. Again, first and foremost, I want to put my information out there because I know we're fairly new to this side of our district, and we're really excited. So just want to make sure everyone has my contact information. I'm the field deputy for El Sereno, the surrounding communities, and now Lincoln Heights. So I'll give you guys my email now. I can't put it in the chat box, so just say it. Cynthia, CYNTHIA.V.cruz@lacity.org. That's the best way to get in touch with me. A couple of updates on our end. I guess I'll start with Union Pacific, since that's a trending topic now and is now in our area, in the portion of Lincoln Heights. So of course our office is very aware of the current situation there, and just want to let you guys know we are taking it very seriously. We've met with UP directors already and have discussed and are in the middle of ongoing conversations in terms of long-term and short-term solutions to the area, to mitigate some of the issues, right, and the public safety concerns that folks have around that area. So just wanted to share that. In terms of other community updates, like I mentioned last time, we have our cleaning crews out in El Sereno and in Lincoln Heights now. So please send me locations if you guys have any areas that need attention. That way we can have our crew go out there and address those. We also, in El Sereno, we have a monthly bulk bin program where we have the Alley Sanitation drop off their containers, and it stays in the community for the weekend so folks can come and drop off bulky items. We want to expand that into Lincoln Heights. So we're trying to come up with some locations that might work. So if you guys have any suggestions, please feel free to share those. The container stays over the weekend. So if you guys have suggestions, please let me know. We definitely want to get one of those out here. We're also working on a lot of different things. We want to start food giveaways in Lincoln Heights, as well as tree and plant giveaways and community cleanups. So, a lot of like new stuff, similar stuff that we've done in the El Sereno area. So kind of want to expand that into Lincoln Heights now. So definitely looking to partner. And if you guys have any suggestions or ideas, please feel free to share that with us. But that's pretty much it for now. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Right. Thank you, Cynthia.
Our excuse me, our next speaker is Jose Golimus.
Hi, Jose.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. So I just have a couple of updates. I emailed the board some announcements with some updates for this month. First off is regarding the board member trainings. Again, just please be sure to take a look at the trainings that you're missing, or if they're about to expire. Please make sure to complete the trainings on time. Also, in regards to the ABLE training, please be sure to take that as soon as possible. Again, we're advising neighborhood councils that, as far as consequences for not completing the trainings, to refer back to your bylaws, Article 14, Section 2, for the on compliance for trainings. And if you have any issues logging into Cornerstone, please let us know. You can communicate to communications@empowerlay.org so that they can help you with your credentials for Cornerstone to be able to log in if you have any issues logging in. Also, if you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to reach out. Also, there's the Planning 101. So that goes to all Plum committee members that they're required to take the Planning 101 project planning training, which is available on Cornerstone. And if the neighborhood council has yet to provide the roster, then to provide the roster. But I see that there's the roster available on the empowerlay.org website, which shows the Plum committee members. Just be sure to take the time to log into Cornerstone and take the trainings so that you're all in compliance and it doesn't affect you in voting or any other matters. Also, just want to remind that there's bylaw amendments taking place. There's a deadline that is set for April 1st of 2022. So please make sure to make any considerations of bylaw amendments that the board may have, setting the agenda for board action, following your process that is dictated in your bylaws. And be sure to provide that bylaw amendment form along with the changes if the board does decide to take any action on any amendments on its bylaws by April 1st. Also, just as a reminder, I'm not sure, since we've been having some issues with the @empowerlay.org email. Earlier, it sent out just a notification to the board in regards to just the complaints. As you may know, there's been some complaints regarding the board member removal for absences that took place back in December. So in regards to that, we just we recommend to the board that the neighborhood council hold off on appointing any of those vacant seats until the issue is resolved. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be following up with contacts on that.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. Doing my notes here.
We have no more public announcement or government announcements.
All right, so that was item 5. Out of courtesy for, I guess, could I reorder the agenda and just move 6 after the next, just skip straight to 7? And then
Yeah.
6. Okay, so now we will move on to item 7, presentations.
I think there's a hand raised on
Do we have
attendance.
another hand?
Oh, yeah, we just had another one. LAPD traffic. 1 second.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hey, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Outstanding. Hey, my name is Victor Islas, and I am a Los Angeles police officer. I am a two-wheel motorcycle traffic officer. And even though I am assigned to Central Traffic Division, my office is in downtown LA, I was recently assigned to be the traffic liaison for Hollenbeck. That happened last year. So I've been working at a Central Traffic in the Hollenbeck area for the last 14 years on and off. So Hollenbeck and Lincoln Heights is not a place that is new to me. Just to give you an idea what my duties entail, my job is to keep track of traffic statistics and trends, what's going on in the greater Hollenbeck area, of course, including Lincoln Heights, to connect with members of the community, to find out what traffic concerns they may have where they work or live, and also to spend as much time as I can in Hollenbeck area doing traffic enforcement. I am a motorcycle officer, and that does take a good deal of my time. That is what I do. We just wrapped up the statistics for 2021, and we generally did well. We do have some areas of concern in the Hollenbeck area. We had actually a total of 7 fatal traffic collisions in Hollenbeck area. And one thing that I try to spread as much as I can is for people to know that pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcyclists, generally in that order, account for the vast majority of our fatal traffic collisions, the vast majority. So people that are walking or bicycling or in their motorcycles tend to not fare very well when they're involved in the traffic collision. People in cars generally do a lot better, and that stands to reason. They have a lot more protection. In the Lincoln Heights area, we did have one of those fatalities. I believe this is within the Lincoln Heights area. We had a bicyclist that was struck and killed at San Fernando Road and Humboldt, and that happened early last year. That is the only fatality that we had in that general area. We had most of our fatalities were in the El Sereno and Boyle Heights areas, still in Hollenbeck, 7 of them. We had a generally good year, but 7 fatalities, of course, is 7 too many. One thing that I would like to share with you folks is that through Lincoln Heights is what we call one of our high injury network streets, and that is North Broadway, all the way from Mission to Spring. So pretty much the entire stretch of Broadway that goes through Lincoln Heights. A high injury network street just means that we have a higher than average number of traffic collisions that result in some type of injury. Those are the ones we generally track, injury and fatal traffic collisions. We track all collisions, but of course, we're more concerned with injuries, particularly severe injuries and fatalities. So that's in a nutshell what I'll be doing. I am going to visit. I'm visiting right now the neighborhood councils just so I can introduce myself and you guys can have my information. I would like to share with you my phone number and my email address so you guys can reach out to me if you have some questions or concerns when it comes to traffic. My callback number is area code 213-833-3745. And email, you can reach me at 32181@lapd.online. Email works best for me because I can look at the information and I can start working on it even remotely. Obviously, we all have access to information from home and out in the field. I could take maybe a question or two. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you guys have questions that you can think of later or you want to address to me later, feel free to either call me or send me an email. If no one has any questions, that will be the end of my comments.
Thank you. I think that we ask everyone to send it via email or phone. That way we keep with our time, but we appreciate your report.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. All right, so that was the government reports. Any other government officials?
I don't see any more.
Okay, so next we'll move on to item number 7. Subject Q&A with Congressman Jimmy Gomez. Presenter Jimmy Gomez. Description community discussion and public comment Q&A. Vince, could you bring Jimmy to the?
I think Jimmy is a panelist.
Panelist?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi. Hi, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come before the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. This is started in November of 2020. I started doing just listening sessions with all the neighborhood councils, and then in the 34th congressional district there is 22 of them. So it's taken a while to get through all of them. Just a lot of things have come up. from the beginning of the year, the insurrection where people tried to stop the transfer of power from one president to another, which I was proud to stay in the gallery, stay in the Capitol to make sure that the insurrectionists and the mob didn't get their way. At the same time, we knew that this past 2 years have been devastating for people. The fact that the pandemic hit so many people so hard. One thing that was always clear, and clear for me, clear for people on the east side of LA, that when there is a crisis or a health crisis, economic crisis, it disproportionately hits working class people harder than anywhere in the country. So if you're on the east side of LA, you are more likely to suffer from unemployment. If you're on the east side of LA, you're more likely to suffer from lack of healthcare, lack of access. And my one motto that I've been following since my days in the California legislature is that the people in most in need deserve the most help. The concept of equity, right? Because you're never going to have the kind of change that we want in this country unless we invest in the people, in the communities that are often left behind. And that's why during the pandemic, I told my staff to focus on needs versus wants. You know, I need help with my rent. I need help with food. I need help to keep my business afloat. I need help to make sure that I can pay my mortgage, or my children can, you know, get access to Wi-Fi. And that's what we did during the pandemic. And that's why we focus on needs. The American Rescue Plan that we passed, the different stimulus packages, was how do we keep people as whole as possible? And I'm proud that, you know, because of the American Rescue Plan and the different proposals, the Paycheck Protection Program helped keep so many businesses afloat in LA. We invested $1.3 billion in the 34th Congressional District, which I represent, from Hancock Park to downtown Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights to Eagle Rock. And those businesses don't represent a business. They represent, you know, in a Casa Fina in Boyle Heights, they represent 28 employees that were kept on because they got a paycheck protection bill. You know, it is Nativo in Highland Park. It is a tortilla making factory in unincorporated East LA. All these businesses that we kept afloat, and people kept their jobs, their healthcare, helped them pay their bills. But now we know that we need to do more. That's why during the American Rescue Plan, we passed the expanded child tax credit. That is a monthly payment to help families stay afloat. It was $250 to $300 per month. And that's why we're fighting to pass not only the infrastructure bill, but also the Build Back Better agenda that we passed out of the House of Representatives, with the largest investment in it, the largest investment in combating climate change in the history of the country, largest investment in housing since the New Deal and the Johnson's Great Society. We had the largest investment in nurses and healthcare and education. And that's why we're still fighting right now to make sure that the Senate passes some version of that bill, because people are still hurting and we need to get back to a better place. I'm proud that so far I've introduced 19 pieces of legislation. One got signed into law in the American Rescue package, which any student loan debt that is canceled, and some have been canceled by the federal government, would be tax-free, because any kind of cancellation would be taxable as income. We passed it, myself, Bob Menendez, Elizabeth Warren got it inserted in the American Rescue Plan. And we're still pushing for $50,000 of student loan debt cancellation, because that is a rock around people's necks that are keeping them from, you know, buying a house, starting a small business, you name it, it keeps them from moving forward. So we're still working on that. And I introduced 2 pieces of legislation that deal with housing in our state. One would convert office space that's unused to affordable housing, and the other one would help kind of build up the low-income housing tax credit. So a lot of that affordable housing uses this tax credit, and it would require more to be extremely low income. That is what we're fighting for. So we're not done yet. We're fighting every step of the way, but we are bringing home resources. Most people I like the city of LA, but without the federal government, the city of LA, which I fought for in the oversight committee to get $672 million to keep them whole. If they didn't get that money during the pandemic, they would have to lay off workers, cut back on services, and start kind of putting people on furlough. So it is something that we were able to do. We also, the county, there was the Hilda Solis village that was opened up near Union Station. 85% of that money was from the American Rescue Plan. And most of the money when it comes to the eviction moratorium is from the federal government, but it's a pass through the locals. So we're fighting every step of the way and making sure that our community gets the resources it needs. I'm proud as part of something I've been working on since my days in the legislature was to protect open space and to get more money for parks in our area. I ended up getting in the infrastructure bill, we argued for a number of years to get money for the LA River. We ended up asking 278 million for the LA River, roughly between downtown and the 134. We ended up getting the first installment of 28 million for that part of the LA River. That's a big deal. But when it comes to Lincoln Heights, I know you're going to have a new council member that got the Lincoln Heights Park. That's where I had a holiday party. It's a gorgeous park, but it's been underinvested for a long time. I think it's an amazing park that I want to fight to get federal funds to make it the jewel of Lincoln Heights and the people of Northeast LA. So we have a lot of work to do, but I want to kind of hear what's on your mind, what issues that you want me to focus on. But in the end, this is a two-way street. When you hear something like good example, when it came to the issue with the Department of Toxics and Substance Control regarding the piece of property, my office sent a letter saying we were really concerned about that development and making sure that that property was cleaned up appropriately. So every time you reach out, that's how my office can be more responsive to the needs of the people of Lincoln Heights. So with that, I yield back and I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Vince, should we go to public questions first or board member questions? Is Vince here?
Yeah, I think we should do public first.
Public first. I'm just saying, should we time it?
I have my little timer here.
Let me see.
Yeah, do you have your video timer, your screen timer?
Yes, I do.
So people can see it. Okay, cool.
Okay, so we'll go to the public. And is it still 2 minutes or are we going to 1?
2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anybody from the public has a question for Jimmy, just raise your hand or press *9.
Okay, so we have Adam with his hand up.
Hi, Adam.
Hello? Adam? Adam? The mic is open. He might be having technical difficulties. I don't see
I'm
anybody.
here.
Oh, okay. There we
Okay,
go.
here.
Sorry, my fancy car won't pick it up, and I apologize. I'll be brief. Thanks everybody for having this meeting, and thank you, Mr. Gomez, for being here. I run a small business and have been really concerned with some of the things that have been happening with the rules that you were involved with when you were the state legislator, and now on the national side. We're really, I think, struggling with some crazy things that are going on in our local community, including the stuff with the train recently. But it's surprising to me that it's a surprise to others. I mean, these are things that have been talked about for quite some time within the community. And it seems as if it takes like a national news expose to showcase something going wrong before the local and state and national figures kind of approach it as a problem. And so I'm curious if there's a disconnect between what you're hearing from your field deputies and then what actions are being taken to help us, or if there's something else that maybe I'm missing. Thank you.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're proud of in my office is to make sure that we do go to the neighborhood councils. We do have these conversations and we're as responsive as we can be. Good example in the Chinatown area where we had a landlord who owns the Cathay Manor. They were being taken advantage of. It was a slumlord situation. My office responded. We not only had a press conference, we asked him to be fired, but we also asked the California Attorney General to investigate. Same thing with issues that are brought to our attention. When there is a problem, we make sure we respond. When it comes to the train situation, we need to always hear from the community. I asked my field deputies if there's ever been a letter written about the train. Never has been. Additionally, we need to make sure when it is the appropriate response from the appropriate level of government. Unfortunately, a lot of the folks at Union Pacific, they have their own private police department, and they often make the cold-hearted, cold cash calculus. Is it better to invest more in securing their rails, or do they just allow it to go through and let stuff get stolen because it is a fraction of what is being transported through the ports of Los Angeles and through the trains? So, but I think it's unacceptable. I think that not only and at the same time, not allowing Union Pacific to say, hey, you know what, LAPD should do all the enforcement, and then you don't have LAPD to do the enforcement of serious crime, but following the rail lines. Or it should be the state and the locals who should pay for the walls that go up around the train. So it is a situation that's unfortunate, but we're pushing to make sure that it gets resolved. But in the end, this is a two-way street, and then we want to hear from the community directly about what you see in the community so we can respond accordingly and know what to fight for.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yep.
Okay. Our next speaker is Goat Puppet. You have 2 minutes.
More free gifts. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, that's the train going through. Yes, that's right. And again, there's a lot of free stuff out there on the sides. And we're going to have to do something about that, Jimmy, because pretty soon people are going to have to wait till Easter to have a package hunt. Kind of like Easter egg hunt. You go down the railroad tracks and whatever you find is yours. But the big thing is gas prices. Gas prices are too high, aren't they? We're shipping out our gas from our refineries in beautiful El Segundo, California, shipping it east. And once it hits the border, the price drops precipitously. Well, it's a big word. Yes, I'm improving my vocabulary since reading about Mark Ridley Thomas's indictment. He has a very good vocabulary. So we've reached out, Goat Puppet, to many local officials to demand an inquiry into why right now Goat Puppet is looking at $4.53 a gallon, $4.43. Up in the northern part of the county, $4.17. What? Where? Oh, DeSoto and Plummer at the Arco, $4.19 a gallon with 99-cent extra large coffee available wherever you are. So we need you to put pressure on these retailers and refineries and tell them that Jimmy wants lower gases. And if you do that, Goat Puppet believes the prices will ease. Will you partner with Goat Puppet and relieve your constituent of these excessive costs?
Thank you.
Thank you, Goat Puppet.
Yeah, no, thanks to Goat Puppet for his comments. One of the things that we do need to look at is how do we lessen our dependence on fossil fuels and also make it easier for people who are working class. One of the things that the Biden administration did do was release some fuel from the National Reserve that will help kind of bring down the prices of gas. But at the same time, we need to transition and invest in public transit and also to make sure that we have more electric vehicles on the road, but that can be used by working class folks. So one of the things that I did in the Build Back Better, I got a bill for a tax credit, a rebate automatically for working class people that are making, 50, 60,000 or below, that would help them purchase a used EV at from a more affordable price. This is something that we can do. The idea of equity doesn't matter if it's for electric vehicles or is it for weatherization, is how do you help working class people more? Although the goat puppet is, he's getting his attention the way he wants, or her, she, it's still an issue, right? Gas prices, how do people get from point A to point B? How do you make it accessible? And then in the BIF, in the infrastructure bill, we included more money to get electric charging stations, not only in more rural areas, but urban areas that need it, especially people in apartment buildings. So next question.
Sarah, we don't have no more public question, but we can take it to the board. There's questions on the board.
All right, questions from the board members. Vince?
Melanie?
Hi, thank you, Representative Gomez, for being here. I really appreciate your time. I'll make it quick. I'm hoping that you can do a few things for us. Sorry, my children. George, 1 second, okay? One, if you could try to commit to trying to get the EPA involved in our Avenue 34 problems, to really take this to the next federal level. We really need help with this. We are exhausting all of our resources as community members and are coming up short each time. And the government agencies that we do have access to are not doing what we need them to do. And so I'm hoping that you can at least commit to attempting to get the EPA involved in this. Next, I do want to say, I hope that we can hear regarding the train situation, more focus on, let's say, less focus on worrying about people's packages not being delivered and more focus on really the root of the problem and why these areas were chosen for these rails to go through, and the disregard for the community in general, are not only our health, but the health of our environments and the lack of resources to our community in general that would lead to this sort of thing happening. And really, again, less focus on this talk of like packages and getting more police involved and building walls around the train when we have a community who's really in need of just basic living resources. But again, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, first, thank you so much for those questions and their comments on the Avenue 34. We will definitely look at how we can get the EPA involved. One of the things that I've been involved with was environmental justice for a long time, and making sure that communities like the ones on the east side of LA, everything from Boyle Heights to Lincoln Heights, are not treated as dumping grounds. And that's what you're seeing. You're talking about the trains and the freeways and the prisons. That's what it always was. It was always the working class, the poor people, and that they would take advantage of those communities. The Department of Toxic and Substance Control at the state level, I was thinking about introducing a bill, which I actually had, and trying to reform it, but also just to disband it, because a good example of their negligence was when Exide, the battery plant in Vernon, was allowed to operate for 30 years and spewing lead, like way before my time or a lot of the local electeds' time, for 30 years, and nobody called them out. And now, because Exide went bankrupt, we had to fight for almost $400 million to clean up all the property so kids are not having lead in their bloods. So this is kind of like the issue of environmental injustice is something that continues. And it ties into what you're talking about when it comes to the resources that are needed for the area, but also the fact that, why is the route of a new train route or a highway always chosen in the working class areas? And that's because certain aspects is that for a long time, people didn't stand up and fight. And we're gonna fight. I'm going to be there with you. But there are folks that have been examples and leaders, right? The mothers of East LA that they're still meeting to this day. When they stopped the incinerator, the prison, they're still meeting to this day. And I always say that elected officials come and go, but the community remains. My job is to help be the tip of the spear for all of you and your efforts, because I'm not like, no matter how great an elected official is, our job is to empower the community. So I'm there. We're going to work with you so that you can make your voices heard to the EPA, and also make sure that we have some accountability on the Avenue 34 project and Union Pacific. But you're absolutely correct. So thank you for your question on that.
Thank you, Jimmy. Our next board member is Diego.
Thank you, Vincent, and thank you, Jimmy Golimus, for showing up to our meeting today. I really, truly appreciate it. I understand that you have advocated arduously on behalf of the LA River and securing and supporting open space for a congressional district. And while this is certainly a wonderful opportunity to create meaningful and new open space to the benefit of our community, I do have some fear that this may inadvertently end up causing harm to our communities if the LA River's development is not done so in a way that truly allows communities to have self-determination throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
Green gentrification is a real thing, and it is a concern that our communities are constantly facing. And so with that in mind, I'd also like to highlight that an overwhelming majority of our congressional district is united by battles for access to and preservation of open space that already exists and that is already a part of the cultural fabric of our respective communities. Highland Park has Poppy Peak, Eagle Rock is fighting for Ontario Way, Boyle Heights has Albino, El Sereno has Lombard and Eastern or Coyote Hill. We in Lincoln Heights have Flat Top. These battles have been overwhelmingly fought by community members. And so my question to you is, what can your office do to support these communities in the preservation of open space that already exists and that needs that type of support?
Yeah, Diego, thank you for asking that question. And you're right. One of the things when it comes to any new park space and revitalization of parks is that I'm doing it because I want kids like me when I grew up that, we didn't go to the movies because we didn't have money to go to the movies. We didn't have cable because we didn't have money for the cable. You know where we went? We went to the parks. And I don't believe that we can't allow fear of like the greenification. I think what you're saying is to not do it, but we got to take steps to protect the neighborhoods that are there, right? One of the things I fully support is to extend rent stabilization and expand it across the city in order that we protect these neighborhoods from the rent rising so quickly when you have a new asset and the developers and the business people want to invest around it. I'm not saying investment isn't good, but when it starts to have a negative impact on the communities, we got to be careful. And also, for a long time, I worked on the LA River when I was a field deputy for the city council, Mike Fuhr in the Valley. And we were doing the original LA River revitalization master plan. And we were having community meetings. And I was out in Studio City. And you know what the Studio City folks said? We don't want you to invest in the river because it's going to bring people, right? People not from their neighborhoods, people that are not, their background, but more working class people that are going to use this public amenity. And I thought it was insane. I was like, no, we're going to do this because the river and these spaces belong to everybody. So it was like, so that's where my passion for the river. And also I grew up in Riverside County. The only thing that we would play in the Santa Ana River, which the water was an inch deep, but it was like the best place to cool down when you don't have air conditioning growing up. But I'm completely conscious of that. But when it comes to also protecting the open space, Flat Top, I'm committed to protecting it. I took a tour of Flat Top with Northeast trees. And there's ways we can do it by having helping them get funds to have strategic purchases of plots that will block the access to prevent some of that, the development, and to oppose development that is masqueraded as affordable housing, but it's really single family home, right? So there are things we can do to protect it. And I did that, partnering. I helped introduce the Rivers Mountain Conservancy to the people of Mount Washington when they were trying to protect some open space over there and in Glassell Park, right? We have to put the right partners in place in order for them to bring the resources to the table. And there are people that are out there that are interested. The Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, the Rivers Mountains Conservancy, the Audubon Center. How do we bring people together in order to get the resources to buy strategic parcels to prevent? That's how they did it. That's how Elephant Hill did it. That's how the people in Mount Washington did it, is that you block their ability to develop that land so it loses its value, or you buy it directly from them, right? And that's what we need to figure out how to do that with the community of Lincoln Heights and Flat Top. I agree. You need to protect that asset. It's beautiful, and people need to be able to access it for generations to come. So, but if you need to have those want my office to have those conversations, let's do it, because it's something that I'm definitely passionate about.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Our next board member is Sarah Clendenny.
Ah, that's me. Hi, Jimmy. Yeah, my question is, like, can the federal government help? Can they stop the city from destroying records? So much of the research I do, it's like I try to search for the records and they're gone, with land use and stuff like that. I stumbled upon the stuff about Art Snyder with Paradise Hill, for instance, in 1968, having sold the 30 acres for $75,000. But yeah, I can't access the actual documents.
Yeah, no. So I'm not sure if you knew, but I actually I minored in urban planning. So I love that. Like, the reason why is well, LA is all about the built environment and how it developed and who had what money, who controlled what. I had to explain to somebody the fight for water in Chinatown. Nobody, some people, to somebody on that I was trying to convince about the value of the LA River. But it is, I have to look and I have to see if there's any federal laws or any state laws that they're in violation of when it comes to those records. And, back then there wasn't a lot of oversight on that stuff. And it gives you a history, gives you an understanding of it. The only thing when it comes to private land transactions, as you know, there has to be some record, who buys it before, how it gets sold from the public. Back in the day, it was pretty shady. And then when did he do it? In the 70s?
Oh, 68.
Yeah. So listen, they're 68, right? The sunshine laws didn't get passed by the federal government until after Watergate. So a lot of the actions that a lot of these local municipalities took was just corrupt. And Dodger Stadium, let's talk Chavez Ravine, you just go down the list. So I don't know if they're in violation of anything, but we can look and see what can be done at the federal level. There are weird federalism issues, but you never know. We can maybe look at how something can be done. And that would be actually a great state government bill. If I was in the state assembly, that would be something that would be easy to do, because the Brown Act is a state act. And there are now requirements of what documents have to be saved. So it's different than it was back in 1968, but it still needs to be probably needs to be tighter.
Yeah, the biggest thing with it, sorry, I'm going back and forth, but with the DTSC, with the toxic dumping, right, in the 80s, before the existence of DTSC, right? They were prosecuted. So all the dumping cases were prosecuted by the Toxic Waste Strike Force, right? Run by the deputy city attorney. Anyway, so yeah, with this site, we found out that they were illegally dumped, these 254 barrels of toxic waste. They were buried on this site. The dumper was prosecuted by the city attorney and the county, LA County. We looked at the disposition schedule from 2016 from the city attorney's office, and they had destroyed a handful of these toxic, these landmark cases, like the files, the litigation files. And it's very alarming because basically these toxic sites before DTSC existed, they were never properly remediated.
Yeah.
And so they're not even on the, DTSC's radar anymore. And
Yeah.
so it's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And there's no easy answers. Like you have to figure out how to kind of hold them accountable. And then a lot of these properties, what happens is a lot of the private individuals, they declare bankruptcy and they walk away. And then the taxpayer in the city and the neighborhoods suffer, and they have to deal with the toxic site, but then all the taxpayers as a whole have to pay to clean it up. And that's like a lot of times there's ideas out there where if you have a developer or something going into a site and they're going to develop, they have to have a bond, like, if they have a battery spill or something, right? A lot of things have changed, but we got to be tighter on making sure that industry, especially when it goes into sensitive areas, can't walk away without any repercussions. And bonds are usually a version of that, but I know that's not what you're talking about, but we can definitely, I'll look if there's something at the federal level. My staff's online. I'll ask them to look. But no, it sounds like you're doing interesting research.
Yeah, it's just the city of LA. It's like if you don't know the history, just example like the water. It's just like, well, you don't know the history of like the way the city's laid out. Like you don't know why it is how it is.
Oh yeah, no,
it's incredible. But yeah, I guess it's about transparency.
Yeah, and also, like I believe in community organizing and empowerment, so people can make their voices heard. Because oftentimes, it's often the areas that have the money, the attorneys that are often, left more protected. I always use, most people don't know, but Laurel Canyon and Coldwater Canyon are federally designated highways because they were supposed to be freeways that cut from the 101 to the 10 that went through the mountains. But why wasn't that ever built? It's because the Hollywood types, the people with money moved there and started protecting those hills. But when it cut through Boyle Heights and East LA and Southeast LA, the 710, when they tried to take it up and extend it past, to the 210, that was like our biggest win because, you had the community organized. But no, it's about not only about like the history of the development, but it's also about making sure the communities are empowered enough to push back.
Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Our next is Anna Lee.
Anna Lee?
Hello, thank you. Hello, Jimmy. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi.
You had mentioned the income tax credit for retail spaces that are not being used for low income, and talked about rent stability. And I just wanted to hear your opinions on the TOC projects. And
which one are those?
Oh, I just wanted to hear if you have any opinions on them and what they might be.
The TOC, the opportunity, are you talking about the opportunity zones or which one are you talking about?
No, not opportunity zones, the transit-oriented communities. So basically like the rezoning with the income tax credit, for the portion, to be affordable housing.
Yeah, first, I'm for having as much affordable housing around transit areas, but it's also, you have to have it's not just, we have to incentivize that, but we also have to take steps to protect the housing around the area. Because if you do not, and this is where the local municipality often has control over rent control. If you do not, then what eventually would happen, and you see this in San Francisco and the Bay Area and different communities, is that you will start seeing the rents rise within a mile of a transit stop. And that's because people want to live near transit so that they can get out of their cars and take the transit to work. And that's what we want in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions so that they can give up their cars. But if it's about housing, how do we protect that housing? We have to have first higher thresholds of affordable in those areas, as in, you know, instead of like 20%, you have to have 50% or higher, or a designated project as completely affordable. And then you have to design, what does that mean when it comes to working people? Oftentimes you have somebody who makes $45,000 get priced out of an affordable unit. So I'm in favor of them if they're done well. Oftentimes people want to have the transit-oriented developments without protecting the housing surrounding it. And so it's more of a local issue, but there's different things that we can do. So if they're using, good example, the low-income housing tax credit, you can, like what I was trying to do is make sure that there was 25%, 20% affordable, but extremely low income, right? People that are making $20,000. So there's different things that can be done, but it depends on, honestly, on the local government and how it's structured.
Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next board member is Fernanda Sanchez.
Hola, Jimmy. Really happy to have you here, and thank you so much for engaging with our community. So our East LA communities, are full of rich cultural history. Our Latinx communities have been threatened with displacement for years and has gotten worse during the pandemic. Our East LA communities are mostly that of low income, non-English speaking renters. So personally now, living in what is now considered an up and coming neighborhood, I have seen my communities completely change, as well as my neighbors being displaced and disappearing without any resources or legal help. What can your office do to support our renters and their rights, to ensure that their low-income community renters are protected from displacement, protected from developer harassment, and protection and preservation of our East LA communities?
Yeah, Fernanda, you're absolutely correct. The market pressure on the traditional neighborhoods of the East Side is tremendous, and it's spreading. And I have my thoughts. It's because a lot of the anti-development that started on the West Side and the Valley, that they didn't want any affordable housing, they didn't want multi-family housing, and it spread throughout the years. So I'm a big supporter of making sure that we expand rent stabilization throughout the city, but also to extend it and include more housing units. But one of the things that we need to do, and what I realized during the pandemic, is that we need to educate the public of their fundamental rights under the current laws. So a good example is, I slept on the steps with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Cori Bush in order to extend the federal eviction moratorium. But we did that in a way in order to protect those renters. But a lot of the renters didn't know that they had basic rights that the state gave them, the local gave them, and the federal gave them. So I started doing workshops with the Housing as a Human Right Coalition every single month in order to educate people of their basic right. This doesn't just impact working class folks or people that don't speak Spanish. A good example that a good example is my brother Javier, his spouse and their child. They're living in Alameda. Somebody bought the house that they're living in and wanted them to move out. And they're like, this is during the pandemic, there's an eviction moratorium. And my brother educated, went to, got his bachelor's, he went to graduate school. He ended up doing that, and he knew that they couldn't do it. So he fought back, and then they had to pay him because they were doing it illegally. They had to pay him a certain amount of money in order to because they violated the law and because he had his right. So one of the things I believe is that we have to do these workshops, more of them, to encourage people to exercise their rights. But when it comes to a lot of the pressures, you gotta build more affordable units at all at the lower levels, and you have to educate people about their rights. And that's what I'm going to continue doing. And we actually had money in a federal program to the first time homeowners, buyers for like first generation, second generation working class people. Because one of the things what we don't want to happen is that we want them to buy their home so that they can stay in the community that they grew up in and make it as affordable as possible. So it's not an easy issue, but first and foremost, people need to know their rights.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And so I can't raise my hand, but I had a question, I have some comments for Jimmy.
Yeah.
So one, it's not Chavez Ravine. Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop is what our families called it, right?
Yeah.
All descendants from these areas. And, you know, I hear about the housing from multiple elected officials, right? And I sometimes think that we don't go into that history to understand the history of displacement.
Yeah.
That the very policies that we utilize now to try to fix the problems are rooted in racism. They're rooted in outcomes that are not favorable.
Right.
Like you mentioned, like the city housing ordinance, right? For not raising the rents. Well, you know, I had to take it apart because I said, it sounds so good, it protects renters. But at the same time, when you see how it was created, a homeowner can be on the board, but not a landlord and not a renter. So the only real representation of those laws that come out of that commission that the city has is in favorable of someone that can relate to a homeowner or a landlord, where a renter is completely by design not represented. And sometimes I tell people, look, maybe we're crazy, right? Maybe we're digging into this paperwork and we're losing it, but the outcome historically has always been negative. And that's why we're seeing such great disparities now into the future, that we keep implementing the same laws that just don't work and that we're rooted in that system. How can we fix them? Renters need representation on those boards. They currently don't have it. And that in itself sets a biased policy into the cities and the implementation of it. And it's hard to sit back because I hear my grandparents tell me the stories about, we had a house. You know, we had the American dream in Palo Verde. But at the end of the day, look what happened to us. It got taken away. It was unfairly for them. And it was for a process. And for them to now visualize in today's time, like Bruce's Beach and the indigenous movement, right? All these things are starting to stir up, I know at the state level and definitely local level, on these land back issues and reparations. But I always ask, how will we fix it? What does the future look like once we acknowledge this? What do our elected officials do beyond this once knowing it? And I've often asked our city officials, right, because it's out of your guys' hands, because they implement it, but how can the state, and we've seen that fight of change of power. The state says, no, we should be the decisions of land planning. And then the city says, no, you're not going to take our powers away, right? And I think that's just a fight to see how government actually works, and we're not progressing forward, or it's a snail that's moving, but at the cost of many people. And my fears have always been to see the outcome of what's going to happen when all this relief goes away, when all the COVID stuff goes away. What do we really have planned for the people of California? Where will we be financially, and where will we be in housing? And I would love to hear anything, any information to that.
No, you bring up good points. And one of the things that I'm actually looking at Palos Verde, I actually, when it comes to Dodger Stadium, Carol Hawkes, who's a longtime resident of Northeast LA, she was one of the children that was dragged out of those homes. And I've had long conversations with her, but teaching people the history is the first thing. One of the things I'm working on is trying to recognize the area where Dodger Stadium is as a national historical monument, to tell people the story of that displacement. Not that we don't love the Dodgers, right? Like, we can be a Dodgers fan, but also to recognize that what the city officials did to those Latino communities was fundamentally wrong. And then how do you kind of take steps? And like, if everybody talks about how that there are fundamental things that are broken, true. But as long as we empower the community to get involved, to fight back, to raise their voice, and this is coming from a guy who was a union organizer, right? That's what I did for a living, is that I empowered workers to make their voices better, is to change those laws, to help workers, from nurses to people who work for cities, to make sure. And you know what? It does change, but it takes a long-term day in and day out commitment. And one of the things, and education. Like, I didn't know that those boards didn't have, I'm not running for city council, but I didn't know that those boards had didn't have a renter. And maybe that is time to have a renter on that. And then asking the local council members to pass a law to change it. Things aren't fixed, right? Things don't need to be fixed if we start making hard decisions. Good example, the city, like, not running for city council, but the city of LA doesn't have its own health department. We have to rely on the health department of the county. It's a controversial issue, but you know what cities did better during the pandemic? The cities that had their own public health departments, right? So, but then I also believe in creating fundamental change in formulas. They're not sexy. When I was in the assembly, I passed a law that said 35% of the money in the greenhouse gas reduction fund to help people combat climate change and green their communities must go to low income communities and areas that are disproportionately impacted by climate change, but also low income communities, 35%. And I said, and the law previous to that said it can just directly benefit. So like if more trains on Metrolink was saying that it was going to help the communities of the east side. And I said, no, directly in investment. Changing laws, right? Changing the structure of how money is distributed can have profound impacts on people's lives, right? That's how you create lasting change. And I've done that from my days in the assembly, what I'm doing now in Congress. The child tax credit, the reason why that was such a big deal is because for the first time it said you don't have to owe taxes in order to get the $250, $300, or it was $33,000, $3,600. And we know that poor people need money monthly, not once a year when they file their taxes. So when we changed that law, what did it do? It lifted 40 to 60% of the children in this country out of poverty, depending on where you live. So like we can actually pass laws that have profound impact on people's lives, right? Life-changing. So it might not seem like it at times because things move slowly, but when you do it, it is massive. So when it comes to some of these issues, let's have those discussions. Let's have those debates. And then let's figure out how to pass laws that are will fundamentally alter the course of people's lives in the short term and in the long term.
Thank you, Jimmy. I don't see any more board members, Sarah.
All right.
We've completed.
Okay, and then we already had a comment from Adam. So I guess that, yeah, Jimmy, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I look forward to having more conversations with you, but please reach out to my office if anything comes up. Have a good night.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So that was nice. Next, okay, so we're just going to zip through this. 6 committee announcements. Are there any committees that have an announcement?
No, just ARC. We'll be meeting next month in February. So everyone, they're welcome to come. If you're a board member, you can't participate in it, but you can sit back and listen in the public.
All right. And then Selena, are you here?
Oh, yes, Selena.
Selena has, yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
The elections committee is meeting on Saturday at 10 a.m.
It made red. Saturday, 10 a.m. Elections committee. And then,
Excuse me, is Victor there? You're present, Victor. Do you have anything to report on your activities in the last couple of weeks?
No, not as of yet. I was supposed to go on Monday, but it was raining for the stop sign, but it's ongoing for now.
Okay, Victor, let me know if you do get some stuff, and we can, we may have a meeting on the fourth Thursday of the month.
Okay, fourth Thursday.
Got it.
All right, so that was the Programs and Services Committee, Gil Arevalo and Victor Azanado. And before that was Selena Ortega with Elections Committee.
Can I just add something? I'm so sorry, Sarah.
No,
the Zoom for the elections meeting, all that information is on the website if anybody wants or needs the agenda. And it was also our agenda is also posted at the Lincoln Heights Library.
Selena, can you briefly describe what the Elections Committee does?
Sure. So we're in charge of anything elections related. And so the LA City is having their municipal elections, and that's what we're gearing up to have. I mean, to inform our residents on becoming registered voters and giving election information in general.
So that would be CD1 elections, right?
Yeah.
And the other mayor, yeah, all that. All right, thank you, Selena.
Thank you, Selena. Melanie?
Johanna is here. She's on the participant side. She's been there for a while.
Okay. Thank you, Mel. All right, any other committee announcements? We're gonna have a pluck meeting soon, just waiting to coordinate with some applicants. But I'll keep everybody posted. All right, so next we'll move on to the next item.
I have just one more announcement, and for I know Diego's here because he's co-chair with me on the sustainability. I sent out, so I'm just waiting for confirmation from our committee members, but we do plan to have one on the 26th of January at 6 p.m. for our sustainability. So like I said before, anybody can show up. If you're a board member, just make sure not to participate in it. You can't make public comment, but you can definitely sit back and listen. And we are encouraging, there's seats for more board members who would want to participate. And you can send an email to either me or Diego. Currently, right now, we did receive one from Joanna that we will be considering at the meeting. And we also got a few items that we're putting on. So we're happy that that's going to get started.
Excellent. Thank you, Vince. So we'll move on to the next one real quick. So Madam Secretary, have we received any applications for vacancies?
We've received inquiries, but no completed applications.
Oh, okay, still chugging along there, the applicants, but okay, so then we will bypass item number 8. Oh, wait, no, wait, we have 8B. 8B and C, I'm going to move to the next meeting. Need more time on that. And then can you scroll to, oh wait, I have my agenda here. Budget Committee 9, announcement of NPG grants. Open call for applicants. Just announce it. We have a supplementary document on our website. The link's right there on the agenda where we have the application actually and all that. So
yeah, and another thing about NPG grants, you got to be a 501c3 and you have to have your updated documentation. So there are some requirements in it that you will need, but we could also co-sponsor in some cases, and it's a by case basis on events. And really, and anything that we might need currently in our neighborhoods that we can work with a nonprofit, that we can provide services or PPP equipment. We're asking anybody just to submit in. And like Sarah said, the hyperlink works on it for neighborhood purpose grants. Just fill out the application and you can send it to me, Vincent Montalvo, the treasurer, at vincent.m.lhnc@gmail.com.
All right, thank you, Vince. Yeah, and that's funding up to $5,000 to 501c3s or public schools. You can't be at a church, but also if you can, certain community groups get like a sponsor too, Vince? Like if you're not a 501c3?
Yeah, they could do what they call either co-sponsor or a financial sponsor for these type of events. So Yeah,
Right.
it just depends on how it's written out and how the plan. There has to be a proposal for us to take into consideration, and then it'll go through the process. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 5,000. It could be any amount that the project needs, but it's up to 5,000.
Right. All right, excellent. And then, yeah, B, sorry, I'm reading your part, but we need to get our business cards made, and we need a phone number and we need a PO box. So we just need to sort of vote on this item. I know this is a paid phone number, but
This is, and right now what we're doing is we're only going to be voting on $10 right now. I need to contact our funding department to find out if we can put this on the agenda for a full year. And right now I only have clearance to put it on for just one. So I will definitely send it out tomorrow to our the city clerk to find out if we can do this a whole year so we don't have to keep voting at it every month. But tonight what we're voting on is the service for it. And also the service itself is $5 for the number. And we're also leaving for voicemails. It's $6 a month. So we're asking, it should be $11, right, Sarah? But
no, it's the phone number is just $5. You just pay that once. And then the service would be $6 plus a $2. You're parking the phone number. So it's like, it would be a total of $8 a month. And then the voicemails get transcribed via they're transcribed, and then you can access them they could be emailed to you. So, or you can listen to the voicemails, but it's super important for our community members who don't have internet or whatever. If they want to hit us up, they have questions or suggestions, or they just want to talk to the machine.
So with this one, what I would recommend, because it's over the budget here, like we can only approve $10 because that's what we have on the agenda, and it looks like it's going to be more. You said it's the 5, the 6, that's 11, plus 2 more is going to be $13. So right now we only have it up to $10.
Okay, well, find another.
So what I recommend is that let me take this back to the city clerk to see if I can't just vote on it for the whole year.
Okay, yeah, let's just do that. We'll just, yeah.
Because I'll call the company up and just make sure what is it, the final cost with taxes and everything.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Stickler. All right, excellent. So we'll move on to the next item. Vince, let's see.
The next item is going to be the, give me 1 second, I'm gonna bring it up.
Nancy's, you're gonna have to grab Nancy's ear on this one.
Okay, so this is a discussion to obtain L.H.N.C. banner for outreach. So this has to go back to outreach with Nancy, and in their next meeting, you can put on the agenda for a design for a banner and what the content the banner would have and its use and its purpose. And you also need to get a quote from either a local vendor so that we keep our money in our community, or any vendor that would give you a quote on the cost, shipping, and taxes. And that has to be, and you can send it to me so we can put it up on the next meeting and we can approve the funding for it. But I would send item 9C back to outreach for design and content.
We could have it hand sewn like the old school days.
However, they make the recommendation. It'll be sent back up through the executive again, and then through the general board for final approval and funding.
Okay, cool. And then we have D, the MER.
Item 9D, this is discussion and possible action of our December MER. Let me bring this up. So in the month of December, we had to pay a couple of months back of our mailroom service that does our website maintenance. So we paid for, I believe it was, let me see, we had August of 2021 that we owed July 2021, June 2021, October 2021, and September 2021. The total price was $155 per month. The breakdown for each one was $135 for the maintenance, and there's a consistent contact fee, which is when they add stuff to the website, and they charge $20 for a total of $155 per month. So that is our expenditure report. We didn't have any other costs except for those. And our net available still is $39,471.00. So
Yep.
I'd
Any-
like to make a motion
Yeah,
to
well-
approve the December 2021 monthly expenditure report.
Okay.
Is there a
Any,
second?
oh, yes, sir.
Second.
Thank you.
Diego seconds. Board member comments. If anybody has any comments on it, you can raise
Yeah.
your hand.
Vince, I have a question.
Sarah, yeah.
I was looking at, I'm a nerd, so I was looking at other neighborhood councils, MERs, over the years. And then there was one it's like
I forgot.
on the west side, but they had like a crazy expense. They had an office manager. Now, what is that?
Office managers, basically, we can hire people, with contract, and they basically do what an office manager does, maintain, it could be secretarial work, recording, document recording.
Like a paid position,
Yeah.
but it was like $20,000.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not really like we hire them. What it is they contract. It goes through like a third-party contract, or they're self-employed, and they can submit an invoice for the service, and they basically keep everything in-house.
Okay.
But it is expensive, and they do, yeah. 20,000 would eat up half your budget right away.
Wouldn't want that job. All right. So, any other board member comments? Sorry.
I don't see any.
Any public comments on this item? Please
If
raise
you're
your
in the
hand.
public and wish to comment, push *9 if you're on a landline, or use the little hand icon. And I don't see any.
Okay, so we will now go to roll call. Should we do a roll call? We have to do a roll call.
Yeah, I have to do roll call. This is a funding item.
Let's just run through the roll call.
Okay, here we go. Sarah,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Fernanda,
Yes.
Vicente, yes. Nancy,
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Didia,
Yes.
thank you. Joanna,
Yes.
thank you. Annalie,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Victor,
Yes.
Diego,
Yes.
Richard Ortiz, and Gil,
Yes.
thank you. Steve,
Yes.
thank you. Selena,
Yes.
thank you. And Deanna.
Ineligible.
Okay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Motion carries. Excellent. So next we'll move on to the next item. Item 10A, Planning and Land Use Committee.
Point of order.
Yes, what is
It's in
your-
point of order.
What is your point? No, I'm the chair. What is
Okay,
your point?
this, in regards to the Planning and Land Use Committee, if Jose is not, I don't know if he's here, but in order to have Planning and Land Use Committee, people who vote on these things have to pass Planning 101. You can have it in the committee, and all the members of the committee would have to have Planning 101. In your committee right now, Planning and Land Use Committee, you have 7 members. You have 3 who have taken the training, and therefore that is not a quorum.
Okay.
And if it's taken up by the board, the whole board must pass Planning 101 before you can discuss and vote on planning and land
Thank you.
use
So,
items.
Point not taken, but thank you. We're going to proceed. Vince?
Sir,
Yes?
the board member does raise a point, though, that board members need to be in compliance with the Plan 101, especially the Plum Committee members.
So every board member who votes on any item, any pluck item in the general board has to be gone through, has to have completed Planning 101. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and because like the Plum Committee members need to be all in compliance of the training, especially in order to establish their quorum, since it only shows in the website that 3 out of the 7 have completed the training. That means that it doesn't have the quorum necessary to actually carry out the items for land use.
Okay, well, we will, well,
Yeah, and that like if doing so, then the whole board will be required to have the training completed in order to be heard.
wait. The entire board of LHNC has to have the training completed, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so if the plum committee is not, the plum committee members have not all taken the training, or at least the quorum of the committee, in order to hear that item, and in order to be heard by the board, the whole board needs to be in compliance of the training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So right now we have Benny that's completed it, myself and Nancy. So we need Richard Ortiz to complete it, Fernanda, Sarah, and Melanie.
all right. Well, we will, I guess, table these items, right?
Well, let me ask Jose something. Jose, was there a deadline by when they needed to complete this? The one.
Yes, the Planning 101 deadline was January 1st. That deadline, it was set first December 1st, but it was extended until January 1st. So that's the reason why, that if you're not in compliance, then that item cannot be heard until you have at least a quorum of your committee who are in compliance with the training, at least.
And one more question, Jose. My understanding originally when this came out was that was for just the committee members to discuss at the committee. And what you're saying is basically that if the committee members do not have their full certification, that these items, they couldn't move unless the whole board took the training?
Exactly.
Okay.
So like, yeah, since, because like, if the plum committee members are not in compliance, or at least a quorum of that committee is not in compliance with the Planning 101 training, then the board member, those committee members will not be able to move those items, since that's part of the policy. They need to be in compliance in order to be able to take action and participate in the committee.
So if one more was on there, these items would be able to move forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Not in the board, in the committee, not on the board.
No, it's the committee. So one, like the whole board does not need to be required if the committee or if the committee members are in compliance. It's only if, in case that if for example, if the items cannot be heard at a plum committee, then the board itself needs to be in compliance.
Got it.
all right, excellent.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose. Okay, well, with that, I guess we will table item 10A and 10B, unless we have a special meeting. And then we will move on to item number 11, non-agenda public comment, 2 minutes per person. So one more time for the community, you got 2 minutes to speak. Please raise your hand or press *9 if you just want to say something. Okay, so we have Pedro on the line. Pedro.
Okay, Pedro.
Hey.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Pedro.
I just want to applaud you guys on the great work that you've been doing today. I can't remember the last time that a meeting ran so smoothly. It really does feel like I haven't felt the need to say anything the entire night, and it really does feel like the community is being represented and the questions that the people do have are being asked. So I just want to congratulate you and applaud you guys on all your hard work.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro.
All right. Okay, any other public comments?
I don't see any more public comment.
Okay, so with that, we will move on to the final item, item number 12.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Thirded.
All in favor?
Favor.
Aye.
Favored.
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
All
Okay,
opposed, let the record show there's no opposition. The meeting ended at 7:44.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you all for the good work.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Night.
Thank you. Good
Take
night.
care, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.